No one will forget those images that you just saw on your screen, because after that, T20 cricket was never the same. Hello and welcome to this special on India today as we build up to that marquee clash between India and Pakistan. And whenever anyone talks about India versus Pakistan, I often hear people say that India versus Pakistan on the cricket field is a matter of life and death. You know what? I disagree, because India versus Pakistan on the cricket field is more than life and death, because emotions of millions and millions of fans are attached to this particular encounter. If their team win, they celebrate for weeks on. If their team loses, they sometimes even go into depression. What is going to happen today, we'll find out in roughly about 5 hours from now. But before that, for the next hour and a half, you better be glued to India today, because we've got all the top voices joining us as we build up to that big game. In Wasim Akram joining us live from Islamabad. We'll have Sunny Gavaskar joining us live from Dubai, which we're calling Ground Zero at the moment. Harbhajan Singh joins us from our very own newsroom right here in New Delhi. And alongside me to give me company and to help me out in the show, my friend and colleague Rahul Rawat. Rahul, what have we got on the menu today?
Well, a lot actually. You said it's a matter of life and death. I think with the record, it's a mere formality. A lot of Indian fans would like to believe that 12-0 is already a scoreline, and let's see if we can make it 13-0 today.
Okay, the gauntlet has been thrown there by Rahul. He says 13-0, so watch out for that. Whether that will happen or not, we'll find out, as I said, in roughly about 5 hours from now. Let's get our opening comments in, and I'll start with you, Sunny Bhai, because you're there at the thick of the action. I see that you're wearing blue. How's the atmosphere like there, and are you seeing a lot of blue around?
Yes, there's a lot of blue around, and it is. I think the flags of both the countries are being shown. But yes, I think there seems to be a lot more blue around than green at the moment. And I'm wearing the blue because look, this is the uniform that has been given by the International Cricket Council. We've got shirts with a red piping and a yellow piping as well. And I've chosen to wear the yellow piping today because only last week the team wearing yellow, CSK, won the IPL. And so for that to be lucky, I'm wearing the yellow piping shirt today.
Right, trust Sunny Bhai to come up with these ideas. He's got the blue, he's got the yellow as well. Harbhajan, to you, one thing that when I was building up, I said it's even more than life and death. That's because, of the kind of history that is there between these two teams. The fact that they're playing after 2 years and that they don't play very often, does that make this rivalry even more tasty? Does it make it even more exciting for the fans?
Yes, most certainly. This is a very, very special kind of occasion. When India plays Pakistan, it's a very rare occasion. So that's probably one of the reasons that people wait for such occasion to come, wait for these matches to happen. And yes, this is what make this match very, very special. And of course, India-Pakistan has always been a great game to play, to watch, and of course, this is probably the biggest game spectators enjoy. So yeah, so there are a lot of other parts as well, what people look to see in these games. A lot of good, not just fight with the bat and ball, but a lot of aggressions on the field, which people like to see, between India and Pakistan whenever they play against each other.
All right, let me come across to you, Wasim Bhai. We say this very often in India, that if you want to grab hold of a television set, you want to steal a television set, go to the store today when India and Pakistan are playing, because even the owner would be glued to the match. He won't even realize you've done that. How is it like in Pakistan at the moment? Are the streets already beginning to get empty?
Hi, Nikhil. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sunny Bhai. Hi, Bhaji. It's exactly the same what happens in India. As far as the emotion concerned, as far as, the moods concerned of the whole country. So the whole country has been wide awake since last night. I suppose, I believe India probably would have been at the same stage. But you see, we spoke about the combination, we spoke about Sunny Bhai spoke about the yellow piping and, everything. But we haven't spoke about the pitch at Dubai Stadium. So yesterday we saw West Indian got out on 55. So, mind you guys, so far, whatever we've seen in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, the pitches are not as flat as we thought they would be. Because, like Bhaji explained the other day, because in IPL, they didn't use the center strips of the square. So maybe they are fresh, so maybe there's a lot more bounce in those pitches. So I hope it's not a low-scoring game because then it won't be fun. But I think Dubai wicket will definitely help bowlers more than batters, whatever I've seen yesterday.
I'll just weigh in on this, Rahul. A very interesting point that Wasim Bhai says here. One thing, we saw 55 all out on a pitch that we were expecting to be probably the best sort of a venue in terms of runs being scored. And then on the other side, you have a game that's going on in Sharjah where we thought you might even get like 50 all out and a team has got 170. What's happening? This is not what we saw in the IPL, did we? Rahul?
Yeah, in fact, that is exactly what I also wanted to point out because Wasim Bhai just mentioned Dubai was considered to be a batting paradise compared to the other two grounds. But I think perhaps as the tournament progresses, I think the condition of the pitches would also improve. As a lot of cricketers we spoke to after the IPL or during the IPL, they said the pitches will improve also because of the conditions, the weather, because when the IPL started, it was pretty hot out there. But as the tournament progressed, the temperature also dropped quite a lot, and hopefully I am expecting a better match, in fact a better contest, a better batting performance, just like what we are actually watching right now in Sharjah.
Wasim bhai, you make a valid point about that game that happened yesterday and was played in Dubai. But how much would you put it down to the way West Indies batted? Because it was possible that another team, if they batted responsibly, could have got 150, 160, which is good enough.
Easily, Nikhil. I think West Indies was still asleep. They thought it was maybe a warm-up game, the way they batted. I mean, it seemed around a bit, but the spinners got the wickets. Moeen Ali got 2 wickets. Adil Rashid got 4 wickets. And the shot selection from the West Indians were very, very average and careless, in my opinion.
Right. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. Many fans might think that this may be a low-scoring game between India and Pakistan. Not quite, because as Wasim bhai pointed out there, it was also the kind of shots that were being played by the West Indian batsmen. Don't expect that from India and Pakistani batsmen. So you might still get a high-scoring game. But what's at stake? I've been building up to this game. There'll be plenty of things to talk about. For example, what the team is going to be like. What are going to be the tactics that the two captains come up with. We've set it all up for you. Here's how the two teams match up.
The World Cup, when India and Pakistan play cricket, it's World Cup Battle Royale.
India versus Pakistan, a contest that takes years to culminate now. But when it finally does, there is nothing more important than this. India, of course, enjoys an imperious record against Pakistan in the World Cup games, but they have earned each of those 12 victories over a period of 29 years. And to extend that record further, India will once again have to get back into their beast mode. In KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, India have possibly one of the best opening combinations, followed by Virat Kohli, the perennial thorn in the flesh for Pakistan.
That was just an outstanding shot from an outstanding player.
Jasprit Bumrah is arguably the best in the business when it comes to bowling in the death or at any stage of the game.
It's another wicket. Was a really good knock.
His partners in crime, Mohammad Shami and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, bring with them the experience needed for such high-pressure games. And add to it the presence of Lord Shardul. Varun Chakravarti is being tipped as India's X-Factor, while Ashwin, going by his performances in the warm-up games, may have finally found his mojo back. Rishabh Pant, Suryakumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja. All players of high pedigree and men who can change the course of the game at any stage.
In the very first delivery, Ravindra Jadeja.
India looks the most formidable side, but the question is, what will be the 11 that will make this formidable side a World Cup winning side? India finds itself in a quandary largely because of Hardik Pandya's inability to bowl these days.
This one over the offside.
That leaves India with either to play him alongside 5 bowlers or play a batsman shot and strengthen the bowling with 6 bowlers.
And that's long too.
With just 5 bowlers, Virat will not have an option to fall back upon in case one of the bowlers had a bad day in the office. With 6 bowlers in the 11, the batting may look a little brittle. Hopefully, India will finally get its perfect 11, but majority of the times, India versus Pakistan games are decided on who handles the nerves better.
Senior players, the likes of Shah. 6. What a strike.
Something Virat Kohli and his men in blue have become used to over the years.
6 deliveries.
Sports Bureau, India Today.
Right, so that's how the two teams line up for this marquee encounter. We still have our guests in Sunny Gavaskar, Wasim Akram and Harbhajan Singh. Sunny bhai, coming to you again. I read your column this morning. You say that Pakistan will be under pressure. Is that right?
I think it's the weight of history as well as the weight of expectations. I think the weight of expectations on the Pakistani players is a lot more than the weight of expectations on the Indians. So you would think that with the population of both the countries, the weight would be much heavier on the Indians. But I do believe that the Indians over the years have realized that this is just a game. Not everybody, of course. There will be lots of people for whom it's like a do or die kind of situation when you play against Pakistan. But I think there are a lot more people who now understand that beating Pakistan is no big deal. And so therefore, they will be a lot more concerned about when India is playing, say, against Australia or England, who now they think are more sterner opposition than Pakistan. For Pakistan, of course, it's a matter of trying to prove that they are the better team, and therefore, I think the pressure on them is a lot more.
Wasim bhai, I'd love to know your thoughts on this, on what Sunny bhai says there, that more pressure on Pakistan because they have a point to prove, whereas India have that record to back them, and so not too much of a big deal for them.
It is a big deal for Indian team as well, winning against Pakistan. They might as well winning against India, against Pakistan in every World Cup game, but India-Pakistan, every game is important for the players from the both sides. So, yeah, Pakistan probably a little more under pressure maybe than India, but again, the pressure on the tension on both the teams are equally, high, because everybody has been talking about about this game since the groups has been announced. The India-Pakistan first game, 24th of October in Dubai, the Ring of Fire, and whatnot. But again, this is the beauty of Indo-Pak cricket. When the foreigners, especially from Australia, England, those guys tell me, there's no series like Ashes. So I explained to them, hang on a minute. India, England, 70 million people, maybe. Australia, 24 million people, probably. India, Pakistan together, 1.5 billion people watch that game. So it's different pressure altogether.
That's true. There will be pressure. No denying that. It's a massive game. I know, Wasim bhai, that you'll be with us throughout this hour and a half, but you'll be going in and out of our show and also joining our sister channel in Aaj Tak. But before I let you go for this particular segment, I'd love to know about, certain Pakistani players that the Indian fans are not aware of. Everyone here talks about a Babar Azam because, he's very well known, or you'll talk about a Shaheen Shah Afridi, who's a great bowler. But one man who's been under the radar, Mohammad Rizwan, what could you tell us about him? Because I was looking at the T20 averages since the last 2 years, and he's right there between Babar Azam and Virat Kohli.
Yeah, he is. He's a phenomenal player. He's a keeper who can bat, but in the last 2 years, he's cemented his place in Test cricket. He's got runs in Test cricket at batting at number 7. Then he's got runs in one-day cricket mid-order, and then now he's an opener in T20. Happened about a year and a half ago, and now I think him and Babar scored more 50s than any Pakistani player did before. And he's a hard-working guy. He's the best team man you can ask for. Very humble, down-to-earth, very talented. And he's from up north, from Peshawar side, so he's a Pathan. And straightforward, simpleton, and loves his cricket. Another guy I would like to, I hope he does well, not just against India in general, is Asif Ali. He bats at number 6. His performance in PSL has been phenomenal, batting at number 6 and 7. If he clicks just in this World Cup, he can be the best finisher in the game.
Okay, 2 players to then watch out, as Wasim Akram there was saying. One is Asif Ali. He's a destructive batsman, bats at number 6 for Pakistan, the game changer that you might have. Other than that, as I mentioned, right on top of the order, you've got someone like a Mohammad Rizwan. Before I go to Harbhajan, Rao, a quick word from you as well. You know, these 2 players have been a bit under the radar because we don't get to see too much of Pakistan cricket, so we only focus on the big players. But the Indian team, you reckon, must have a plan against these 2 very crucial players.
Absolutely, and they need to have, they need to unveil or unleash Jasprit Bumrah and Varun Chakravarti early, because the strength in this Pakistan team lies in their top order. Mohammad Rizwan, you mentioned, see, who has he replaced? He has replaced their captain, Sarfraz. Sarfraz was their captain, was a wicket-keeper batsman. He was the captain, and to force his way into the team, it speaks volume about his talent and the ability that Mohammad Rizwan has. It is to finish the games. He has that ability to finish the games. In this calendar year, he is the leading run scorer in T20 International. He scored over 750 runs. So their strength lies in their top order. You need to get into that middle order as early as possible, as far as India is concerned.
Okay, India definitely going as the favourites. I was just taking a look at India's record in T20Is versus Pakistan, and they've played 8 encounters, and guess what? The scoreline reads 7-1. We keep talking about the wood that India has over Pakistan in World Cups, but even across that format in general, whether it be bilateral series or wherever they've met in this format, India still hold the wood over Pakistan. Harbhajan, I'm going to come to you on this one. There is one school of thought that says that, listen, yes, India are the favourites. They're a more experienced team. They have been playing outstanding cricket for the last few years. But as the format keeps getting shortened, the chances of an upset increase. So, for example, if you were playing test cricket between these 2 times, the better team would most likely win in one day as well. But when it becomes like a T20 format, anyone can win on that day. Does that then give a lot of hope to Pakistan?
Well, see, T20 is such a format, no matter how good a team you are, you still need to start well and of course keep on doing, the right sort of things till the 20th over is bowled, and same goes with your bowling. So in T20s, yes, there are some teams are very, very strong, like India is very strong. I would say England is a very, very strong team. But, it's that kind of a format. Once, any opposition gets going, they can take the game away from you. You can't take anyone lightly in this team. Any team can beat anyone. But yes, I would most certainly say India is probably stronger side, when it comes to India-Pakistan clash. But still, India have to play a good game against Pakistan to win this game.
Okay, as Harbhajan says there, India has to play a good game. And to play a good game, you must know your opponents. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Where are there going to be certain matchups? How do you match up against their spinners? When does their fast bowlers come in? And how is it that you're going to utilize your bowlers against their key batsmen? We've got all that for you. Have a look.
Come from all over the world, America, India, Middle East. Come in all colours, all sizes, all shapes. It's just the tricolour all over.
Pakistan and unpredictability go hand in hand. Despite the weight of history against them, Pakistan wouldn't consider themselves as mere pushovers. So what could be the challenges that Pakistan may throw at the Indians? Their openers Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam have been the backbone of their batting in the recent past.
Beautifully played.
Rizwan is the leading run scorer in T20 internationals this calendar year, having scored 752 runs at a phenomenal average of 94. At the other end, Babar is the second on the list with over 500 runs. As a pair, they have scored 523 runs with 2 century and a half century stands in 10 innings, an average of 52.10. Their pace battery is another threat. They bowl fast, have decent experience under their belt, and the presence of a left-arm paceman only adds to the variety. Shaheen Shah Afridi, Haris Rauf and Hassan Ali are the frontline bowlers. And they also have the option of Mohammad Wasim and Asif Ali to fall back upon. Pakistan have once again gone back to the experience of Mohammad Hafiz and Shoaib Malik. And not to forget their ability to bowl off spinners regularly. The two have earned their places in the squad with some good performances. Batting in the middle order, Hafiz has scored close to 450 runs in the last 1 year with a much acceptable average of 33. Shoaib Malik certainly forced the selectors to pick him with his recent performances in the National T20 Cup, where he got 225 runs at an impressive average of 75 and a strike rate of almost 150. Pakistan also boasts of a variety of all-rounders in their ranks, not just those who can bowl spin, but fast too.
Second leading edge we've seen.
Going by what was witnessed in the UAE leg of the IPL, spinners will play a crucial role in this T20 World Cup. And Pakistan have the variety to do well in the UAE. Imad Wasim, the left-arm spinner who usually bowls up front in the power play and is economical too, would once again be the trump card for them, especially with India's top three being right-handers. Leg spinner Shadab Khan has the experience of bowling on UAE wickets, and a wrist spinner is always an attacking option. Both the spinners could be crucial if Pakistan are to do well against India, but crucial could be one more man if he does get an opportunity. Babar Azam, another late entrant in the T20 squad, will relish this opportunity.
The trees, running down to the pitch and hitting over mid-on. That went far.
He is yet to play a T20 against India, but in the limited 4 opportunities he has got in ODIs, he has made his mark with 207 runs, including the century he scored to win Pakistan the 2017 Champions Trophy final. History certainly favours India, but in cricket, especially in a format like T20, one just can't lower his guard, and being the underdog could be Pakistan's biggest advantage in this game. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Right, those were the various strengths that the Pakistan team has. As the package there mentions, you've got a good top order there, a couple of very good spinners, and then of course their fast bowlers also come into play. Rahul, let's talk about the record that I briefly mentioned before we got into the details of how the Pakistan team is performing. 7-1 in a format as unpredictable as a T20 format, in which we sometimes see in the IPL. You can have CSK win the title, and yet someone who finishes at the bottom like SRH can beat them. That's how unpredictable the format is. Yet for India to have such a dominating record over a team, what does that tell you?
That India have been able to handle pressure better. And Nikhil, see, these have not been high scoring matches, all the majority of these T20 clashes. If you would remember 2016, India were chasing about 119 runs, 2007 also, both were low scoring matches. So the question is, who can handle the pressure better? Of course, in cricket, conditions do matter, but your temperament also matters. But here, as you yourself mentioned, Nikhil, you know, the shorter the format, the advantage a better team has also reduces. This is a T20 format, and as we just saw, Pakistan has that variety in their bowling. Perhaps their top order will be very crucial, and especially those spinners up front. Imad Wasim, left arm spinner, leg spinner, against the top 4 Indian batsmen. They're all right-handers. So that could be a crucial, and India needs to deal with that. Let's see how they do that.
Very interesting that you talk about those 2 Pakistani spinners, because that leads me very nicely into the next question that I had for Harbhajan Singh. You know, as a spinner yourself, Harbhajan, let's take a look at the 2 Pakistani spinners. We've seen, as we mentioned a short while ago, Imad bowl in that power play. So he's going to come out against the top 3 Indian batters, and then you get the Shahbaz leg spin coming in the middle overs. How do you reckon the Indian batsmen deal with this?
Well, I think Pakistan will try and use Imad in the first 6 overs, and Imad is certainly someone who just looks to bring the ball back into the right-handers and look to get batsmen LBW, you know, and and it is obviously a challenge for a spinner to bowl in those 6 over. And of course, if he can get the ball to spin away from the batters, he will ask a lot of questions. But I'm sure Rohit, Virat, and KL, and I hope Ishan Kishan plays, and if Ishan Kishan plays, then Imad won't be that successful anyways. But I'm sure we have the batters who can take him on. And when it comes to after a power play, I think Indian batters are far better playing spin bowling than any other team.
Okay, Harbhajan says that Indian batters are far better in playing spin bowling than any other team, and one of those batters is the showstopper. His name is Virat Kohli, also the captain of this side. Yes, he's not got 100, and much has been spoken about that in the last 2-year period. He's not had that high standard that he sets for himself. But tell you what, just take a look at his record against Pakistan. That's where he comes alive. Let's have a look at how Virat Kohli has fared against his arch rivals.
Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli opening the batting for India.
Big matches bring the big boys in business.
Oh my word.
Virat Kohli will certainly be looking to make it business as usual against Pakistan and would be eager to continue with his exceptional record against the arch rivals.
That was just an outstanding shot.
The Indian captain has been a nemesis for Pakistan in the T20 internationals, and especially in the 3 T20 World Cup games he has played against them so far. Against Pakistan, Virat has played 6 T20s, scoring 254 runs at an average of close to 85. The more threatening stat that Pakistan is staring at is that Virat hasn't been dismissed in any of those 3 T20 World Cup games and has got 169 runs with 2 half centuries so far. Virat has made a habit of punishing Pakistan in World Cup games. In fact, it was his century that allowed India to beat Pakistan in the 2015 ODI World Cup. Virat hasn't scored a century in any of the 3 formats since November 2019, but that doesn't take away his big match pedigree. And perhaps this could be the moment he has been waiting for. Despite his long wait for a century, Virat continues to be the highest run getter in T20 internationals with over 3,000 runs. In T20 internationals, he has the most number of 50-plus scores, 28 to be exact, and in the T20 World Cups, he has 950-plus scores, a record that he shares with just one player.
It was a long tour.
Virat has decided to give up his T20 captaincy after this World Cup, and for the hunger for runs and success that he has always had, King Kohli would be desperate to sign off on a high. Sports Bureau, India Today.
From an outstanding player.
As those visuals narrate, Virat Kohli just loves playing against Pakistan. We still have our 3 experts in Wasim Akram and Harbhajan Singh, Sunny Gavaskar still with us. Saima, I'll come to you on this one. He did have a great IPL, Virat Kohli, but we just saw his record against Pakistan. Outstanding. Do you think he's now primed to get back to his devastating best?
Yes, I think that's a fabulous record. That's an absolutely unbelievable record. And Pakistan will be wary of him. And sometimes what happens is when a team is wary of one particular player, they don't do as much homework on the other players. And that allows the other players who are under the radar, so to speak, to go out and bat without being too pressured. So that could also work out. Kohli's record against Pakistan could actually work in favor of the other batsmen. But yes, I think it is an unbelievable record that he still has to be dismissed by Pakistan in T20 cricket.
All right. While India have Virat Kohli, on the other side, you've got Babar Azam, also a man in phenomenal form in all formats of the game. One of those contenders to be one of the best batsmen in the world, alongside Virat Kohli. So, is this going to be a contest within the contest that everyone will have their eyes on? Babar Azam versus Virat Kohli?
I think you have to take into account the fact that Babar Azam is relatively young compared to Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli has got a lot more experience. Virat Kohli has been playing international cricket for now almost 10 years or more, which hasn't been the case with the Babar Azam. And so you've got to understand that, comparisons at this stage are futile. Both the batsmen are the linchpins of their batting. Having said that, perhaps Babar has a lot more pressure on him, because he'll open the batting and he will then have to give the direction to the Pakistan batting, which way the game is going. On the other hand, you could have a situation where Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul bat for 15 or 16 overs, and so Virat Kohli has to bat only for 5 or 6 overs. So the pressure on Virat Kohli will be that much less than it will be on Babar Azam, particularly is likely to be less. I'm not saying it will be less. It could be less, looking at the way the match develops. But because Babar will be opening the batting, the pressure will be on him, and so how he handles that pressure is probably going to decide Pakistan's fate.
Valid point there, Rahul. Would you agree that the fact that Babar is opening, Virat's now pushed himself down to 3. Obviously, he's very confident of his openers now. There was a time that he was a bit reluctant, that what if we don't get a great start, so pushed himself up there. But now with Rohit, you've got KL Rahul, he feels a bit more secure, so less pressure.
Absolutely, Nikhil. I think Pakistan is more dependent on Babar Azam if you compare it to India, dependent on Virat Kohli, because you have the likes of Rohit Sharma. Everybody you speak to, they would say KL Rahul perhaps is the best T20 batsman in this lineup. Nobody is talking about Rohit Sharma. Nobody is talking about Virat Kohli. Of course, they bring with them loads of experience. Even the likes of Rishabh Pant, Suryakumar Yadav, even Ishan Kishan for that matter, he may not make the cut for the 11, but he also has all these players, they have the experience of playing these big matches, these high pressure games. Pakistan, we don't know. Babar Azam, there's too much attention on Babar Azam, and if their Prime Minister tells them कि घबराना नहीं है, pressure मत लेना, ये मत लेना, chairman says, Ramiz Raja says, don't worry. I think all that, by saying all that, they are actually putting more pressure on their team.
Very, very valid point there that Rahul makes. The kind of pressure that builds up from the outside, especially when the politicians also sometimes get involved. But that's the nature of the beast. India versus Pakistan on the cricket field. As I said, sometimes it's even referred to as war minus the guns. We have plenty coming your way on this very special program that we've got for you, building up to that marquee India versus Pakistan clash. We're going to be talking about one man. We've spoken enough about the players that are going to be playing. There's one very crucial factor for Indian cricket team who's not going to be on the field. He's going to be sitting in the dressing room. We call him Mentor Singh Dhoni.